Hello, it is Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is a Wednesday puzzle today, so we've gotten past the particularly straightforward Monday and Tuesday puzzles. Maybe a touch more challenge today on the Wednesday puzzle, but not yet the madness of Thursday. I know I've said this quite a few times recently, but it is true again in this case. I do have to get through this relatively quickly because I'm on a bit of a time crunch today. But we will move on. So today's edition of the Daily Solve is brought to you by Alex, Bradley Pirtle, and as always, the inestimable Hood Monster. So thank you so much to the three of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. If you'd like to join their ranks and get access to the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses coffee mug, or tea mug, or whatever else sort of mug you'd like it to be, you can find that at patreon.com/dailysolve. But of course, people who contribute to the Patreon campaign at any level get access to the full suite of bonus videos. What am I talking about? And I just realized I've not yet solved this week's Boss Words Spring Themeless League competition puzzle that will go out, assuming I get it done on time, which I should, will go out Saturday morning to avoid spoilers. And I think that's it. So let's get right on to, and all the details, of course, about the Patreon campaign are in the description underneath the video, and you also get access to the extra channel on the Daily Solve Discord chat server. But the rest of the Daily Solve Discord chat server is free for anybody to join, so do check that out, even if you're not interested in the Patreon campaign. Okay, let's get on to the puzzle. So this is a Wednesday crossword constructed by Jack Murtaugh. Has done a small handful of puzzles. This may be his third, and was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. Let's just adjust this a little bit. And that's it. So let's get going. Let's play. Okay. They may be switched when cycling. You may switch gears on a bicycle. A cry of frustration. It might be gah. And a chest rating system is ELO, which as I now know, named after, it's someone's namesake, so not an acronym, a name. All fours, you might crawl on all fours. Minute hands, essentially, or minute hands, essentially, possibly. Climb up as a pole, shimmy up as a pole, and the up being in parentheses like that indicates we're going to apply it to the answer as well. So we'll say shimmy up, and that will match climb up. Deity with 99 names, looks like Allah. And, oh, I see, minute hands essentially, this is a nice, clever little clue. Radii, because the minute hands on a clock face or a watch face are longer than the hour hands. They tend to extend roughly to the edge of the clock face, so each one is a radius of the circle defined by the clock face itself. So minute hands are radii. That's clever. Radii. Okay. Cradlin. So we can see already, before I even finish reading the clue, that there's going to be some kind of contraction or casual element of this answer, because the clue very intentionally has this contracted form of cradling. Cradlin, a Salinger protagonist. So I think this is referring to the character Holden Caulfield from J.D. Salinger's novel The Catcher in the Rye. So I wonder if this is Holden Caulfield, like this. That's my suspicion. We are cradling him, we are holding him, and we're matching that casual nature. So this will be our theme. So perhaps characters from novels in some kind of casual speech pun form. Pencil remnants could be nibs. You can have the pencil sharpened all the way down to a nib. Preserve as ashes. I don't know. I would have thought this was something like an urn or something like that, but maybe not. Related to religious rites. Sacred, perhaps. And sedative in a blowgun dart, informally. Oh, I'm not sure. What about this? Shorthand pro, a court stenographer, for instance. Somebody who writes in shorthand professionally. I wonder how common shorthand still... I never learned how to write in shorthand. I wonder how common that is these days. Sedative in a blowgun dart. Oh, right. Oh, I see. A tranquilizer. Oh. Preserve as ashes. Maybe this is shinny, not shimmy. And this isn't pencil remnants nibs, but rather nubs, right? That makes sense. A nib would be the tip of a pen, and a nub would be the little stub remaining of a pencil. So yes, I had that incorrect. Whereas shinny and shimmy, I think we actually learned in the crossword recently, are essentially synonyms. They're both words. Okay, old French coin is an écu, I believe, or écu. I'm actually not sure. I don't know whether it has the, what is it, the circumflex accent? Raphael, Gabriel, or Michael, they're all archangels. And because this is an or clue, we will not put the S, as I just accidentally did, because we're only referring to any one of these characters. Bunglers are oafs. To get too old to qualify is to age out of a, competition, I suppose. Over my dead body. That could be hell no. Looks plausible. And Hugo-winning hothouse author Brian. I'm not sure. I think the Hugo Awards are for science fiction novels, I believe, but that unfortunately isn't helping me. What about this? Crossword solvers cry. Aha. Fair enough. Brian, I don't know. I'm not very familiar with science fiction writers. Do I know this? Brian? I really don't think I do. That's annoying. Vodka brand Stoli, right? And particularly particular. Nitpicky, perhaps? Someone who's very particular. Need an arc? I know a guy, and others are puns. And that's an appropriate inclusion in a crossword that features answers such as Holden Caulfield. So this Brian Aldish looks like the most likely, but let's see, Chips, no, I guess it's Aldis with two S's, because here this Chips brand looks like Doritos to me. And American blank, American Idol, it's in quotation marks, so it looks like the name of something, in this case, television program, I suppose. Moi, never. Not I, you might say. What? Moi? Never, not I. And what about this? Footloose star cookin', here we go again. Footloose star cookin' a fresh batch of brownies. I've actually never seen Footloose, I don't think. Who's in Footloose? I wonder if Trank is maybe with a K. Ooh, I'm really not sure about this, actually. What is this? YSD? Oh, letters on a luxury handbag. Yves Saint Laurent would be YSL, which means related to religious rites. It must be sacral, SACRAL, not sacred. Which actually this would be more relevant and related to the sacrament, sacraments, that sort of thing. Sacramental. Oh, Kevin Bacon. It must be Kevin Bacon. Footloose star cooking a fresh batch of brownies. Kevin, who is baking. Kevin Bacon is baking. Weird. Actress Dennings. Ken, maybe? I'm not sure. Philosopher Zeno's birthplace. Zeno of... not sure offhand. Crow but not magpie. So is this referring to... I mean, crow has other meanings. It's a verb. It could be a verb, for instance, to crow, to boast. So is that what it's meaning, perhaps? Or it's also the name of a tribe? Not sure. What about this? Blonde at the bar, say. It could be a blonde ale. Sentence or something found in a sentence. A term. So you could have a prison term or a sentence, but you could also have a term inside of a larger sentence. So then what was this? Actress Dennings. Oh, right. It said actress, not actor. Anyway, Kat Dennings. Oh, Elam. Actually, that sounds sort of familiar. Zeno of Elam. Is that right? I think it might be, but let's solve this cross first. But also, I'll check this. Oh, crow but not magpie. I said even just now it's a verb, and I didn't think that could be the answer. So, whoops. The Great Emancipator. Oh, no, it wasn't Elam, is it? It's Elia. Okay, well, I obviously didn't remember that. The Great Emancipator sharing URLs on his blog. So Abe Raham Abraham Lincoln, sometimes referred to as the Great Emancipator for his role in signing the Emancipation Proclamation, but also here we have the Great Emancipator sharing URLs on his blog would be Abraham Lincoln. Abraham dropping some links. What a ridiculous theme. Went on as an errand, could be ran an errand, did so at schools, got a C, international standard used by many astrologers, Greenwich Mean Time, presumably, referring to the Royal Observatory at Greenwich, where the prime meridian is located, and therefore defines the sort of the zero time zone, I suppose. Freshly, anew, I suppose. Our genus, Homo, as in Homo sapiens, our species. Cover for illicit activity could be a front. To amount to, if they amount to something, they are that. So we amount to 3. We are 3. Gotham City supervillain. Gotham City supervillain in a cryogenic suit. That's sort of a fun phrase. Gotham City supervillain in a cryogenic suit. Mr. Freeze, who I and probably many people are familiar with through that 1990s Batman film with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. Cool freezing ice. I don't want to hear the gory details. Spare me, he might say. I need a hero. Save me? Ah, well, that's kind of fun. Spare me and save me. I wonder if that's, I'm not certain save me is correct, but let's check the crosses. Four-time Grammy winner, India Ari. I recognize that name. And some burrowing mouse-like rodents are voles. There we go. It looks like save me is working out. Oh, and here we have another long clue, another theme clue, I should say. Massachusetts Senator Wagen conflict. So here we have Elizabeth Warren at war. So an American political reference, although Elizabeth Warren has a fairly high profile, all things considered. Computer language that sounds like a literary intro. Prologue? I'm not familiar with this language. This is just my guess based on the crosses we have so far. It does sound like a literary introduction. So prologue would also have a UE at the end of it, but they would be homophones. They'd be pronounced the same way. If one is under the weather, one is ailing. And does this work? Beat it? Yes, beat it, egg. So we have one of these, maybe once a week, maybe slightly more frequently. The exclamation point means you have to read this as a phrase spoken about the answer rather than something that defines the answer or serves as a synonym for it. So in this case, you could see an egg and say, beat it, beat that egg. Ode to Joy for the European Union. Ode to Joy, which is it's a famous passage from Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, is the official anthem of the European Union. That Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, speaking of sort of European, its symbolism to Europe, Beethoven dedicated it to Napoleon and then angrily crossed out the declaration when he became disillusioned with Napoleon's increasing invasive tendencies. Okay, textures, I think. I would have thought this to be IMHO for in my humble opinion, but this surely is Elizabeth Warren. So what is this? Textures, I think. Not sure. What about this? Blank CIO. So this refers to a labor union, the AFL-CIO, a major sort of merged American labor union. And New Hampshire state flowers. Lilacs, I suppose? Not sure about their relationship to New Hampshire, although it seems plausible, but based on the fill, I suspect it's lilacs. Internet admin could be a sysop, a systems operator, I suppose. And info in an apartment listing. Rooms, number of rooms. Textures, I think, would be IMO. Oh, that's funny because, right, we had textures, I think is here. Oh, I see. Now it looks like FWIW for what it's worth. There we go. Being in debt to a Wedding Crashers co-star. Here's another film I've not seen. I've not seen Wedding Crashers, but clearly Owen Wilson. Oh, right. Sorry. I just spelled his name normally. No, it would be Owen, as in Owing Wilson. Owen Wilson. There we go. Okay, to bury is to inter. And this looks strange. Oh, I see. 1 point Scrabble draw would be an N tile. That's funny. I don't know that I've seen that before. It's a way to get some very unusual letters next to one another. The L of Samuel L. Jackson. Oh, I never knew this. Is it Larry with an E, maybe? No, that doesn't look likely. Oh, Leroy, probably. Based on this. 1 in 1,000 is a comma. Okay, there we go. There's literally 1 comma in the number 1,000. And then we've crossed this as well. Catch some Z's is to nap. And houseplant that some think brings luck and prosperity. A money tree. Is that the Chinese money tree? I know that there's a Chinese money plant. Is that the same thing or is that different? I'm not sure. We used to have a Chinese money plant. Anyway, declares, if one declares something, one says it. As an aside in a text, BTW, by the way, and the E of BCE before the Common Era is what that stands for. So the E is era, and a B team is a swarm. Strands in a cell could be RNA or DNA. So let's check the cross. Roadside bombs for short. It looks like DNA because this would be improvised explosive devices, IEDs. And 1 billionth is nano, and right on is yeah, and Solo in spaceflight with a question mark indicating a pun or bit of wordplay would be Han Solo from Star Wars, of course. And there it is. All right, look at that. We've had a nice clean 1100 streak. Let's admire the puzzle. So we had a fun theme today, a pretty casual theme, I guess you could call it, perhaps. We were cradling a Salinger protagonist, Holden Caulfield. The Footloose star cooking a fresh bunch of brownies was Kevin Bacon. The great emancipator sharing URLs on his blog was Abraham Lincoln. And being in debt to a Wedding Crashers co-star, Owen Wilson. And finally, the Massachusetts Senator waging conflict was Elizabeth Warren. I find those very difficult to say because I'm conscious of the fact that they're not pronounced in any way differently to their names, which is obviously the point of the theme, but it puts my brain into some kind of strange self-contradictory state. I find it disconcerting. So yes, a fun, I would say, early week appropriate theme by Jack Murtaugh. And some interesting clues dealing with letters and things. We had got a C here and an N tile here. Maybe not nothing. Maybe. Oh, I guess we did have YSL for Yves Saint Laurent. So we had some individual letters scattered throughout this grid. BTW, FWIW. I don't know if that's necessarily particularly unusual, but it does feel as though this crossword had more letters standing for things than maybe is typical. I don't know, sort of an arbitrary observation, but it just sort of occurred to me. Anyway, I think pretty straightforward. Other than that, let me know how you fared. That was the Wednesday puzzle. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please do subscribe to the channel. And if you know someone who might enjoy this, you suspect they might enjoy it, pass it along to them, either directly or broadcast it through your social media platform of choice, perhaps. And I will be back, of course, tomorrow for the Thursday edition of the Daily Solve. I hope you join me for that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Wednesday. Take care.